But we begin with horrifying new details about the attack on Paul Pelosi and the alleged plot against House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So according to authorities, a man accused of breaking into her home and attacking her husband wanted to interrogate Nancy Pelosi, believing she was telling lies. He allegedly told authorities if he didn't like the answers or he thought she was lying, he was prepared to, in his words, break her kneecaps. David DePape now faces multiple charges, including attempted murder. He'll be arraigned later today. Jonathan Vigliotti is outside the Speaker's house in San Francisco. Jonathan, good morning to you. As bad as this story is, it could have been so much worse. These details are just stunning.
They are, and good morning to you, Gayle. Federal officials really describing a very disturbing plan, saying the suspect arrived here at this home early Friday morning with a bag of items to take Nancy Pelosi hostage. They say he intended to tie her up and assault her using a hammer.
This was politically motivated.
San Francisco DA Brooke Jenkins was clear about what investigators say were the alleged attacker's intentions early Friday morning.
This house and the Speaker herself were specifically targets of the defendant.
Jenkins said there was no security at the home when David DePape broke in armed with 2 hammers, zip ties, tape, and a rope.
The defendant made his way upstairs, locating Mr. Pelosi in his bed sleeping. He woke him up, confronting him about the whereabouts of Speaker Pelosi.
Paul Pelosi told DePape his wife would not be home for several days, according to the newly released criminal complaint. At one point, the Speaker's husband was able to go to the bathroom, which is where he called 911.
2 police officers arrived at the front door 2 minutes after that 911 call. When that door was opened, the defendant was holding his hammer, which Mr. Pelosi appeared to be attempting to control by holding a portion of that hammer. The defendant then pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently struck him in the top of his head.
At that point, Jenkins said, police immediately apprehended the suspect. According to the complaint, DePape then told police his plan was to hold Nancy hostage and talk to her. If she told the truth, he would let her go. And if she lied, he was going to break her kneecaps, saying she would then have to be wheeled into Congress, showing other members there were consequences to actions. DePape also explained generally that he wanted to use Nancy Pelosi to lure another unnamed individual. With the midterm elections a week away and threats against officials escalating, the DA called on everyone to tone down the rhetoric.
We should be able to all engage in passionate political discourse, but still remain respectful of one another.
And Nancy Pelosi said in a statement her husband is making steady progress recovering from a fractured skull. Meanwhile, officials say they intend to hold the suspect without bail. He will be arraigned later today, Tony.
All right, Jonathan, thank you very much.